Dear present time, this is it.
Get time to realize it's right before my eyes, and I can take it if it's what I want to do. I am leaving, and this is starting to feel like it's right before my eyes, and I can taste it. It's my sweet beginning.
I've always loved art, even when I was a little girl, whether it was drawing, painting, or finger painting, and I carried that with me throughout my life. Even after high school, when I actually got to college and I was able to transfer my art skills onto the computer, that's when I really knew that graphic design was right for me.
As a child, I always was interested in art. I think that was my favorite class in elementary school. And a couple of my pieces were picked. I have no idea why, but they were. But when I got to high school, it was kind of the time where I started getting into art a little more. Some of my friends took art class, drawing 1 and 2, so I took them.
I honestly didn't realize I wanted to do graphic design until my last year of high school. I got into it because I used to be like a huge video game nerd, so I don't know, I wasn't like into art, actually. I was more into the video game aspect, but once I got here, I decided that graphic design was something I wanted to do.
I realized I wanted to do graphic design when I was in high school probably, but it started out in elementary school. I was really into like hands-on crafts and art and all that stuff. And then in high school I got into photography and scrapbooking. And then from there I went to do digital scrapbooking. And then took a graphic design class in high school, and that was my senior year. So that was like the main, I guess, entry for graphic design.
As a young child, I always liked to color and draw and do arts and crafts with my sister, so I really was interested in that. At first, I really enjoyed photography. I took photography in high school, so I really enjoyed doing that. And then I took a graphic design course, and then that's what I realized that's what I wanted to do.
I realized I wanted to do graphic design when I was a junior in high school, and I had a teacher that I decided I wanted to be that teacher when I grow up. She was a sports coach at my high school and graphic design, and that's pretty much how I fell into it. I took one of her classes and I really liked her, and I liked the work.
Ever since I was little, I always liked drawing. I always liked art. My mom is a really good drawer, and she loves art too. So I think I always knew I wanted to do something in art, and graphic design is like an up-and-coming media type thing, so I enjoy it.
Well, I first wanted to do graphic design when I was little. I always had a knack for arts and crafts, and that was my best subject in school. I hated history, I didn't do well in English, and art was just a release for me, and I would always decorate everything I could, my walls, my planners, my books.
So as a kid, I was always doing art projects and things like that because my mother is really into art. And then as a senior in high school, I took a publishing course, and that is when I realized I wanted to do graphic design.
I wasn't really interested in graphic design that early in life. I really had no idea what I wanted to do. Originally, I wanted to be a dentist, and I always liked coloring and made sure everybody's outfits matched. But I didn't really decide I wanted to do graphic design until I was a junior in high school, I think. I was on the yearbook staff and I really liked doing layouts. So that's how I picked graphic design.
Well, ever since I was little, I always loved art, especially drawing, and my dad would always draw with me when I was little. So through my whole life, I always loved art. And then in high school, I took a bunch of art classes and eventually took a graphic design course and fell in love with it.
My early life, I really wasn't too into art. I was more like into fashion and kind of doing sketches of fashion more. And then I started liking graphics when I was in high school more because I did more Photoshop and Illustrator classes.
Graphic design, I was actually introduced to it from my brother. He went to school for it. He's been doing it since he was, 17. Like, that's what he was going to school for. And I thought it was really interesting and the things that he was creating. So that's how I began to start doing what I was doing.
For my practicum, I'm choosing to brand my grandmother as a chef with all of her homemade recipes. When I was little, part of my childhood growing up was all of those recipes. And also, I figured that this would be a great choice for me because I love to draw. And drawing all of the ingredients in the book and being able to have that homemade feel to it was something that would both mean a lot to me and my grandmother, but would also be able to market me as an illustrator and a publication designer, which is definitely something I want to go for. I also wanted to come up with a logo to brand her as a chef and to place it on aprons or cooking hats, anything that would really stand out.
For my practicum, I am working with Mark Foreigner, who is the Assistant Director of Plant Operations and Sustainability here at Lasell. Together, we are overall creating a campaign for the students to go eco-friendly. First off, we have to create a logo for sustainability at Lasell College, and then after, we're creating posters just to create awareness and flyers and just an overall campaign for the students to see around campus. So maybe we can start making this campus a little more green.
Well, I really had no clue what I was going to do for the game until the class decided it for me. They all told me to make it about us and our experience here. So basically, that's what I did. It's going to be a game about life in college. And it's kind of my life, but not really. It's like humorous in some ways, so I exaggerated things, but it's about me getting to class on time.
My senior practicum is all paper products for weddings. And I chose it because I love everything about weddings and like seeing it all come together. It kind of reminds me of like our little projects that we do and then doing like one big final piece. It's kind of the same thing as like planning, like sorting it all out on paper first and then doing it. So I tried to make like graphic design go into something that I like doing. So I'm doing all like menus, table numbers, cards, thank you cards, anything you could think of that would be on paper for a wedding. I'm doing fall, summer, winter, and spring. And then from there, I'm targeting like certain groups because now it's becoming more like not just traditional weddings. You can do whatever you want, basically. So like intercultural or bilingual groups or like Christianity, Jewish, Muslim, Indian, like people who like tattoos or like watercolor or really clean and like eco-friendly like groups.
For my practicum, at first I wanted to do a photography book, but then I realized that the senior video was up for grabs, so I picked this as my project. The steps that went into it was to set up times with everyone in the class to do interviews and collect, rough drafts and comps of everybody's project. I also created the flyer for the whole show itself, and the postcards as well. So that was also a main aspect to my project.
For my senior practicum, I chose to do a photography book that would be photos that I took and I edited myself. And I chose to do this because I really want to come out of college with a solid photography piece that I can use as a portfolio piece and to show what sort of work that I can do. The themes of the book are going to be, I haven't totally decided on all of them yet at this point in the semester, but I want to do like a section on the beach. I love beach photos. I want to do sceneries. Recently I've been into taking photos of eyeballs. I want to do a section on that.
For my practicum, I'm doing a magazine-type booklet about endangered species and animals, just to inform people about like dying species and things that they can do to help. I just really like animals, so I chose it, and it's been really good so far.
For my practicum, I created an events planning and promotion company that specializes in extraordinary decorations for your client's event. And I do two things best, is partying and art. So I figured why not mix them both together. And what we try to do is take you into a whole nother world and create a scene for your event that everybody will remember. I designed the identity of the company. It's called Planet Venus, and it's after my sign, the Libra. And so I did all the stationery for that. And then at the end of the year, I will be holding an event featuring an artist. So that will be exciting.
For my practicum, I'm doing a book, and it's every letter of the alphabet, so I'll end up with 26 different letters and pieces of artwork. And I did it because I really enjoyed my calligraphy class and my typography 1 and 2 class.
My practicum is an African nonprofit group that supplies water to villages and sanitation and things like that. It's fictional, it's not real. It's called Ubuntu, which means I am who I am because of who we all are, which I think goes nicely with what the nonprofit's supposed to be doing. So I chose that because I studied abroad in South Africa, and I definitely saw the need for water and sanitation, and I think it's really important, but it doesn't need to be boring. It can be fun and exciting, and I like to bring my design aspects to that. I am creating t-shirts, stickers, buttons, a website, a flash banner, basically anything a nonprofit would really need to get going.
For my practicum, I knew I wanted to incorporate illustrations in some way, and I eventually decided that I wanted to create a children's book. And eventually I came up with the idea of creating a book of different hospital experiences that kids might have to go through that I know are scary, whether it's getting an MRI scan, getting a shot, getting a cast, stuff like that. Eventually I would like to make a series of children's books, but for my practicum, I'm just writing one about a panda bear who's a patient and he's about to get an MRI scan, and I wanted to make it so it's just less scary for the child, and the whole point is for the child to either read it before he or she is going through it, or to have a parent or someone read to them.
My practicum is about Brandon, a music artist, and my friend Anthony. I am doing a piece on him, so he has a whole EP album, and I'm doing the whole Brandon from the website to the T-shirts to the CD to the posters for the concerts.
My practicum was also, I decided this over the break. I had to choose my topic. At first, it was more of photography. I wanted to do photography book and things like that. But then I realized I really like advertising. So in the thought of advertising, I was able to think of what would I advertise if I was going to advertise something. So then I thought about products and what I wanted. And so that's how that came about. And I'm really trying to put together something that will showcase the thing that I like most to, in doing in graphic design, which is advertising for products and labels and all that good stuff.
The advice that I have to underclassmen would probably be, don't be afraid to ask your professors questions and to have a close relationship with them.
My advice to give the underclassmen is, number one, to get as many internships as you can, get as much experience, because then you'll really know what you want to do. But also for the practicum project, to really create a project that you're passionate about. Don't just think of something because it sounds good.
My only advice would be to make sure you have good connections before you graduate, because the people you know are the people that will help you advance later on.
Underclassmen, stay on task, don't skip too much class, really just stay on task. Do what you need to do with enough time. You need to be proud of what you show and not try to fix it all last minute. And listen to your professor's critiques. That was like a big one. And listen to your peers' critiques too. Like everyone, sometimes you don't see it when you're looking at your own work. And then when someone points it out, it's good to know.
For advice, I have two. First is to be confident in your work. It really means a lot to be confident in yourself and, produce the best work that you can produce. And second is to be a part of any groups that there is, like GDL or Polish Magazine. I think it's important to do side work that will be able to build up your portfolio.
For the underclassmen, my advice would be just to time management. Time management has been the hardest thing for me, especially with playing a sport as well and trying to get 10 hours of work for Fisher's class and then do my work for the other classes as well. If you can manage your time and you can get your work done, then you'll be all right.
Stay on task, don't wait till the last minute. Always have a goal and like a timeline set. That's about it.
To the underclassmen, I have to say, go with what you love to do, because this could be a huge portfolio piece for you in the future, and just have fun with it.
My advice would be, don't procrastinate and do your projects as soon as you get them.
My advice to the underclassmen is to find your style and find it early, and don't be afraid of it, because that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else, is that unique way that you do and see things.
My greatest advice would be time management and to never procrastinate, because that was my problem, and trust me, you don't want to do that because it's very stressful.
My advice to the underclassmen is to pay attention to the critiques, because they're really helpful, and it's going to be like what the real world's going to be like, and like real clients, like they're not going to like everything that you do.
Advice for these underclassmen, I would say definitely keep up with your work. Don't be like, I will do it tomorrow, it's due the day after. You should probably start, do a little bit at a time and then progressively finish it when it's due. That's my best advice.